This video will compare my experiences with Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the game, from my childhood to now. I recently played the entirety of the game and I wanted to share my experience with you. I'd watched the Scott Pilgrim movie when I was around 7. I love the comic book video game vibe it gave, and I watched it pretty much every single day for like a year straight. I played the game a lot of the time because of the retro feel, and it was one of the only games that I had for a good bit. If you didn't know, the Scott Pilgrim video game is styled around a classic beat-em-up old-school side-scroller. The only game I've ever played at an arcade that was like this was the X-Men 1992 arcade game. When I was younger, I never ended up reading the graphic novel for Scott Pilgrim, but in my sophomore year I ended up doing that, so it was pretty good. I read the entire thing. My one takeaway before we get into the actual video game itself is all of the endings for everything Scott Pilgrim related was different. I think they were all pretty good, and in certain circumstances, I know a lot of people didn't enjoy some of these endings, but I did. But it's nice that you will always have something different depending on what you were reading, playing, or watching. Alright, to start things off, there are 7 levels in the Scott Pilgrim video game. There is a boss fight at the end of each one, which is one of the 7 evil X's and Evil Scott. I'm not going to pronounce his actual name due to obvious reasons, but in this process of the entire game, you earn coins, you level up, you can buy things like food and special items that increase your character's stats, and you can pay off your dues at this place called No Account Video. The first level starts and I get my bearings of the game again. It's been around 12 years since I last played, but I do remember the music for this level very fondly and the actual level itself. There's a secret door that you can go into which showed the subspace highway. The subspace highway is a reality-bending highway that is used for transportation. That's the description, but in my opinion, it's just some random place that happens to go through Scott's dreams. In the video game, you don't really see that, but in the movie, you can tell that the subspace highway goes through Scott Pilgrim's dreams. Or his brain, I guess, I don't know. And eventually, you can find Wallace Wells' mystery shop. At the end of the midway point of this level, though. He sells extra lives, things that give permanent buffs to your stats like strength and speed, and I highly suggest you come here and get the bionic arm. It will save you a ton of time when playing this game because it gives you 50 strength. And yes, the stats do matter, otherwise you're just going to be like tapping people the entire course of the game. When I was younger, I think I accidentally stumbled into the shop, but I had no idea what I was looking at, and at that age, I didn't know what I was reading. After the shop, I went through another subspace door, then got to the boss fight with Matthew Patel. If you have no idea what happened at the Rocket, which is the name of the building that this fight takes place in, then let me explain it to you. In the graphic novel, Crash and the boys play one last song that is titled, Last Song Kills Audience, which, you can guess, that's why the entire crowd flashed and disappeared. Something that's also a good point to mention is that any person that dies in the Scott Pilgrim universe just respawns at their save point, which is usually just their house or their room. In the boss fight, Patel summons evil demons, which I was terrible at fighting, and something you will realize for this game if you play is that a lot of enemies have ways of stun locking you and just not allowing you to move. It's very frustrating. But then, once the boss is flashing yellow, like Matthew Patel is now, that means they are low and a few more punches will KO them. I remember Matthew Patel a lot from the movie, but I also swear that this fight had more phases to it, like all of the evil demons would like line up or something and shoot fireballs, I don't know, but there's only 2 for this one and then 3 floating around him. But after this, I went back to the shopping district to get more coins and to kind of level up a little bit more, and I figured it would be a good time to show doing a 65 hit combo on this enemy. Then we move on to the second level, which is the usual beat up the henchmen sort of thing, but this time you have to take this key and unlock this gate, then take another key and unlock this chest, and also break this, and then you have to get out of the room. You are also tasked with destroying a makeshift nuke, or like some sort of bomb thing, and if you don't break it in time it explodes, and then you also have to destroy Lucas Lee's car. Then eventually I stumbled onto Lucas Lee himself, and the boss fight begins. The fight was pretty easy, it really isn't that hard, he just goes side to side with his skateboard, and then after a bit just tries punching you. I barely remember fighting him as a kid because I'm guessing it was easy for me then as well. Lucas Lee starts flashing, I hit him, and instead of an instant KO this time, Lucas Lee does what he did in both the graphic novel and the movie. He grinded down the rail to his death, and you are given a skateboard, and boom, level 2 is done. On to level 3. To start, you can see the clash at Demon Head, which is the name of a band that consists of Envy Adams, Todd Ingram, and their drummer, Lynette Guycott. For some backstory to these characters, Envy Adams is Scott's ex that had dumped him, and Todd Ingram is Ramona's ex. Ramona had dumped him. Later into the level, we can see Todd and Lynette come out of the bathroom together, and Envy sees them and gets visibly upset about it. Envy and Todd, these two people, were dating. Envy fights Lynette for a minute and then forces Lynette to have to fight us. And we see that she had robot arms, and after beating her, she disappears. That's one thing that in the movie you can tell that Lynette wasn't really used as well. She was just quite literally there to be there. But anyways, Envy is upset and Todd uses his vegan powers to guitar push you through this wall. Pretty weird. I don't know why he cheated on her. Anyways, after punching through these walls, we can come across Todd. Scott hits him with the guitar because it has this sort of rock band thing that you have to do. And then Todd picks up Scott and throws him through the wall again. Then the actual boss fight begins. Todd uses this insane creature, demon, whatever the hell you want to call this type of arm thing. It looks insane, and the graphic for it is awesome. I remember this scaring the shit out of me when I was younger. After he uses it, the vegan police show up and stun him. After a bit more time, I beat him, and so far all of these levels I've pretty much done in one try, and then Todd explodes and the level is finished. Now I finally got to level 4. This level is really long, and I also do not really remember it from when I was younger, but I played the entire level out and then died right at the boss fight. Very sad. It also really pissed me off in the moment. No! Okay, I got some extra. She killed! I went through this entire level, and these roller skate girls, super annoying. Just gonna put that out there. Then I went through the level more, and there was another secret door. I highly suggest when you play to consistently look for these because it skips out on parts of the level that you don't need to fight them. Just skip through it. Then we enter another subspace door and get right into the boss fight with Roxy. I know I'm kind of glossing over the past bits of this area. You fight in a ninja dojo and stuff like that, but to be honest, this area sucks. It's very annoying, it's very obnoxious. Once you play through it, you'll understand. Roxy has a ton of different moves and turns into a piece of wood at times to teleport behind you and stuff. Very odd. She's pretty much just a ninja. But I beat her and I am proud of myself, and that was now I'm not able to do the first try sort of thing. I died for this one, so rip to that. On to level 5. We see that there are twins, yes, Ramona-dated twins, and to help with skipping parts of this level, I went through a subspace door. Very helpful. It's at the start of the level, so you don't need to really go anywhere. Once you get out, you fight some enemies, and then you have to fight a robot that the twins created. Robot isn't that hard by itself. Once you beat it, you can go through this door, and I ended up dying on this level like 15 times. I deleted the footage, just trust my word, this part of the level I'm a master at because I have messed up so many times on it. Once we go through the door, we are on the fire escape, and we see Gideon Graves inside the building. This is a teaser for the later half of the game. We fight some henchmen, and went into this shop to heal more with food because I was very low. Now, I have no idea how I did not break a controller when I was younger, but basically, I died a lot on this one, and younger me was apparently a champ because I barely remember this level and like it being difficult. I felt like it was pretty simple. Maybe like someone played for me or something like that. But anyways, after leaving the shop, you have to race up this entire set of stairs, and then eventually you come across this big robot that was created by the twins. It has flying arms, and it tries destroying the stairs that you're walking on when you're going up. You actually take damage when you fall. So that's why you just have to sprint up. The thing that I found that was best is that you just full sprint, you ignore all the enemies, and you just hope that you're lucky. Speaking of luck, I got pretty lucky when it came to this boss fight on this last attempt. I ended up breaking both of the arms at the exact same time, which skips out on pretty much everything. There's a couple phases that can happen if you destroy one and not the other. The robot will end up shooting missiles that you have to dodge around on the level, and then there's a big ass laser beam that goes through the center of the screen, and also the flying fists that try to crush you for like 5 minutes straight. But this is where a lot of my anger kind of comes from for this level. This level is pretty much 2 levels combined, and there's no save points, and there's not really any shops, so you can't like consistently heal up. It's really obnoxious. You end up fighting like a mini boss, another boss, another boss, another boss. It's obnoxious. I cannot possibly describe the amount of hatred that I feel for specifically this enemy. This guy right here, that thing, yeah, I hate this guy. He blocks everything, and you just need to hope that for some reason he isn't. It is the most annoying thing I've ever encountered. I hate this guy. I hate him. If I were to make a game, this wouldn't be in it. And on top of that, he stun locks you when he hits you. He'll hit you like once and then hit you 8 extra times. I sprint through the rest of the level and I get to the boss fight for the twins. There's a lot of parkour in between this time, and my frustration for this parkour and all of that is not going to be acknowledged. But the twins themselves are really easy to fight. It's pretty much the same sort of boss fight. This is the only one that actually felt that difficult. And I also got a trophy for beating them at the exact same time, which is pretty cool. So this level is over. Thank God. I'm so glad. If any of you ever end up playing, just know that you really need to prepare for specifically this one and then the very last level. But we aren't there yet. Level 6 is very odd. I don't really know how to fully describe it besides just you have to fight Evil Scott, and you also have to fight undead zombies. Evil Scott basically dug them up and forced them to fight you or something like that, or has some sort of control. I have no idea, but we just end up having to fight zombies for some reason. It's also really funny. You have to fight random animals in the forest, which is it's just crazy because the whole time we're fighting henchmen and stuff, so compared to this, just very odd. Then we find a key, and you have to carry it all the way over to this gate, and then the boss fight for Evil Scott isn't really that hard. It's the same system as punch him till he pops. I remember I enjoyed this level as a kid, specifically for the scenery and zombies. It might have been like, you know, specific biomes from Minecraft. I played a lot of Minecraft when I was younger. I think that's what it is. After beating level 6, we move on to the final boss, Gideon Graves, the last X. I feel like this boss gave me actual nightmares as a kid because it's just so... Look at this. You see this? What the hell? What is this? We'll get to it in a second. There are several stages of this boss fight, and just like level 5 with the twins, it's just as long, which makes it just as hard if you don't have many lives. To start, I arrived at the Chaos Theater where Gideon basically lives, I guess. We see him go down this elevator, and you have to race to get down there by fighting through a ton of enemies, dodging crowds of people, dodging wrecking balls for some reason. And there's these things you need to break to try to snap them. I don't know what it is, but they're holding the elevator in place, and there's a timer. I don't even know what the timer does, but I'm guessing if the timer goes off, you pretty much lose. I died a few times specifically on this part, so then I went back, got some lives and everything, came back, and retried it again. And to understand this level more, Gideon is kind of like the creator of the League of Evil X's. He brought everyone together so that he could try and control Ramona's love life forever, and we find out after, but he is using tech to trick Scott into believing that he looks a certain way. So right now, he is this big, bulky guy, and after beating him in this phase, we end up getting sucked through his chest into subspace. We go through the entirety of this parkour set, and then we have to fight him again. We think it's all fine and dandy, and then we realize that he sucked up all of the power of the evil X's and became this big monster. And right before this fight, that's actually pretty cool, you can pick up the Sword of Love, which the Sword of Love is in pretty much everything. It's in the comics as well, and in the movies. Using this in moves that I've gotten from leveling up, allowing me to attack faster, I was able to take him down fairly quick. If you keep your distance, nothing can really affect you, so that's good. And after beating him in this phase, we were pushed out of subspace, only to see Gideon just run away. There are a bunch of robots you have to fight through to get back to him, and then, you know, these guys are just a pain. A lot of these robots are annoying when they block, and then some of them can stun lock you, some of them are flying, some of them are eating you on the floor. Also, some of them have lasers and rockets and stuff. Then eventually, after fighting through more of these robots, we see that Gideon cloned people and had them fight us. I can't tell if it's supposed to be like a Ramona ripoff or something like that, but they all look the same and they all have the, you know, blue hair. But we beat them up, and I take one of their batons and didn't realize after going through this like nether portal thing and getting to the final boss fight, you just have it for some reason. So important tech if you want to pass through this mission quicker. You have to dodge a bunch on this part, and with the baton that I told you I had, I just kept throwing it at Gideon. And then once we beat him, we see the tech that he was using to trick us. Then one last punch and the game has finally been beaten. Then we are given one of the several endings of this game. To get the endings, you just have to beat the final mission, but your character isn't as leveled up, so you have to go through the entire process again that I did with Scott. But for this ending, instead of Scott getting back with Ramona, he dates every girl in the story and apparently is very happy with his choice. I personally feel like this would stress himself out, but that's just me. Then here are the credits in like 5 seconds. Then yeah, the game is finally over. When I was younger, I feel like this game was a lot longer, probably because of fighting enemies and not knowing that I could actually upgrade myself. And I was very surprised to have beat it so soon. It took me just a couple days. But the craziest thing is, in order to platinum this game on PlayStation, which is getting all the trophies or getting all the achievements like on Xbox, you need to do a lot. And this game has been remastered, so it's not as old as the original. You have to play as Wallace Wells a lot for these trophies, and you also have to play online a lot, which doesn't really make much sense. You need to play as Knives Chow and beat the game in 90 minutes. You have to play as her and catch objects. You have to play as her and do some other trophies as well. You also have to clear the game on the hardest difficulty single player, so you can't play with anyone else. And you have to defeat 1,000 enemies, eat every food item, revive like 25 other people online and play through an entire level without getting hit and beating the boss. If for some reason you guys want to see me go through this torture of trying to complete this, like this video, I'll try to get a friend to help with some of the trophies. But anyways, I really appreciate if you've watched until this point. This was a video that I've had that I wanted to take a good amount of time into trying. And if you want to see this style of video with other games like Batman or Lego games or pretty much anything that's kind of old remotely, comment down below letting me know. Also, sorry I didn't upload for a couple days. I was working specifically on this. This part is pretty much the outro, so if you don't want to hear anything else, you can just click off. That's fine, don't worry. I just wanted to put my thoughts out here real quick. Lately, for videos that I've been uploading, I haven't really felt like they've been getting as much energy and love as they should have been because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. There are a lot of channels that are out that post specifically one game, and I did not want to be like that because that doesn't really sound that fun to me. I don't know what it is. It could be some sort of like ADHD thing, but I'm not diagnosed, so I don't know. But I really do not like doing the same thing over and over and over and over. I like trying a bunch of new stuff, which you can see that on my channel a lot of the time. But this is a series that I wouldn't be against doing often. I just want to be able to do other things. And I know that's very difficult for YouTube with an algorithm and certain things like that. And after having one of my videos do pretty well, it really pushed me to want to make more content similar to that. But I ended up realizing that not that many people liked it as much. So instead of just, you know, putting all that pizzazz into several videos, I took all of that energy from a couple days worth of editing and put it all into this one. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. I just wanted everyone to know where I'm kind of at with stuff, but trust me, this was pretty enjoyable. The game was a little bit difficult to play, but that doesn't really matter, and this was just a nice thing to create. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. I hope you guys have a great day, great night, great week, great month, great whole rest of the year. It really doesn't matter when it is. I hope that's great for you guys though. See ya.